Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Why RHOA's Porsha Williams won't watch old episodes. When it comes to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Porsha Williams is only looking forward. She recently revealed that she refuses to watch old episodes of the series. She said she literally runs from them when they come on TV, except for one small exception. Porsha joined Real Housewives of Atlanta in Season 5. At the time, she was Porsha Stewart, happily in love with Kordell Stewart. The cameras rolled as she navigated their subsequent divorce. She's also documented her pregnancy, new relationships, and a second divorce, all for the Bravo audience to see. She's lived a lot of life on TV, and she explained to Parade that she doesn't need to live it twice. "I lived it, and I'm always on to the next phase of what's happening in my life," Porsha confessed. That doesn't mean she isn't grateful for the experience. Porsha understands how people have connected with her stories over the years. She just doesn't want to sit around and relive them. "But I think that it's been a blessing to be able to grow and learn and relate to people in the way that I relate to them," Porsha explained. She continued, "At the time when things are happening in my life, I'm not thinking about being relatable, but because I'm transparent and because most people go through things that I've been through on camera, I end up being like their daughter, their niece, their auntie, they're someone that they have known, or themselves who have been through the ups and downs, similar in life as me." According to Porsha, there is one small exception to the rule of watching old RHOA episodes. She said if she's at her grandma's house, there's no stopping it. Grandma is going to watch those RHOA reruns, and Porsha just has to deal with it. "Unless I'm at my grandmother's house, and if it's on, she's going to watch it regardless," Porsha said. "It's like there's nowhere to run. She is going to watch it, and she wants me to explain what I was thinking at the time, what was going on, so I have to watch it at my grandmother's house." The Real Housewives of Atlanta airs on Bravo every Sunday at 8/7C. It streams on Hulu in the UK and Ireland. There's something about looking back that makes people pause, especially when the rearview mirror holds years of personal evolution, triumphs, heartbreak, and drama played out for millions of viewers. For the Real Housewives of Atlanta star Porsha Williams, those reruns on Bravo are more than just television. They're emotional time capsules, and that's precisely why she's reluctant to hit play on her earlier seasons. At first glance, fans might assume Porsha is avoiding the cringeworthy fights, shady confessionals, or controversial moments that made her name a household one in the world of reality TV. But for Porsha, it's deeper than that. It's about self-preservation, growth, and the power of letting go. From pageant queen to reality royalty. When Porsha Williams first stepped onto the RHOA scene in Season 5, many viewers saw a vibrant young woman, glamorous, slightly naive, and married to former NFL star Kordell Stewart. She appeared polished and traditional, a Southern belle through and through. But as the season unfolded, cracks began to show in the fairy tale. Her marriage was strained, her voice often stifled, and her identity tangled in expectations. Fast forward to today, Porsha is no longer the woman viewers met in 2012. She's evolved into a powerhouse of personality, activism, motherhood, and independence. She's spoken out for social justice, launched businesses, and redefined her narrative on her own terms. So why, when she's accomplished so much, does watching old episodes still feel like a minefield? A mirror to the past. Watching those old seasons feels like opening an old diary, Porsha once shared in an interview. "Some of it is beautiful, but some pages hurt, and I don't want to keep reopening wounds I've already healed from." It's easy to forget that for reality stars, what plays out on screen is real life with the volume turned up. The painful divorce from Kordell, the fallout with castmates, the infamous reunion brawl, all of that was not just entertainment, but deeply personal. And unlike most people who can move on from the past without it being broadcast globally, Porsha's mistakes and milestones are just a YouTube search away. The past isn't something she regrets, but it is something she chooses not to dwell on. When Porsha first stepped onto our screens, she was vibrant, outspoken, and let's be real, a little naive. Married to former NFL star Kordell Stewart, she seemed to live a life of glamour and tradition, but beneath the surface was a woman in search of her voice. Her early seasons were filled with memorable, sometimes infamous, moments, including the now legendary Underground Railroad flub. That moment went viral and turned Porsha into a social media punchline, but behind the scenes, that was a pivotal moment in her personal development. She wasn't just embarrassed, she was inspired to educate herself, evolve, and eventually use her platform for something deeper. Old episodes of RHOA show a Porsha who hadn't yet fully discovered her strength. Watching them now would be like revisiting an old journal filled with growing pains, heartbreaks, and lessons learned the hard way. That's not who I am anymore. Fast forward to today, Porsha is a mother, an entrepreneur, an activist, and a woman in complete ownership of her power. She's marched for social justice, delivered passionate speeches at protests, and penned a memoir, The Pursuit of Porsha, chronicling her complicated but courageous journey. So when asked why she doesn't revisit those old episodes, Porsha is candid. "I'm not her anymore," she said in interviews, "and I love her, I honor her. But I've grown into a different woman." This isn't about shame, it's about transformation. When someone has fought their way through abusive relationships, public scrutiny, and deep personal introspection, they may not want to rewatch their life before healing began. Porsha doesn't need to relive the drama because she's busy building the peace. The price of reality fame. Let's not underestimate what it means to live your most personal moments on television. Breakups, breakdowns, and bitter feuds become dinner table conversations for strangers. Porsha's on-screen fights, whether they were verbal showdowns with Kenya Moore or tearful confrontations with friends, were raw and unfiltered. Would you want to rewatch the worst days of your life if millions were critiquing your every word? Now add the pressure of being a Black woman on one of Bravo's highest-rated franchises. The expectations, stereotypes, and double standards are real, and Porsha handled it with both fire and flair. But that doesn't mean she owes those memories a replay. She's reclaimed her narrative. Watching old episodes might dim the brightness of the woman she's become. Healing doesn't require re-wins. One of the bravest things Porsha has done, besides returning to reality TV in her spin-off Porsha's Family Matters, is admit that growth isn't always camera-ready. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's messy, and often it requires letting go of the version of yourself that helped you survive but won't help you thrive. Porsha knows that watching the old seasons might stir up emotions she's already processed, pain she's already prayed her way through, opinions she no longer holds, choices she's long forgiven herself for. "I had to forgive myself on the inside," she said. "The cameras saw a lot, but they didn't see the full healing." For many fans, those early episodes are nostalgic. For Porsha, they're echoes of a voice she no longer uses. She doesn't need to hear it to remember where she came from. A new era. Power, purpose, and Porsha 2.0. Today, Porsha Williams is many things: mother to Pilar Gina, businesswoman, and voice for justice. She stepped away from the Housewives stage before and returned when it aligned with her evolution. She's not afraid of her past, but she's no longer defined by it. Her decision not to watch old episodes is a radical act of self-love in a world that often demands self-judgment. It's a declaration that she no longer finds her worth in ratings, drama, or headlines. And perhaps most beautifully, it shows that she knows where her future lies, not in the reruns, but in the rewriting. In the end, it's not about the show, it's about the soul. Porsha Williams doesn't need a Bravo marathon to remember who she is. The mirror she holds today reflects a woman of strength, sass, and soulful wisdom, and that woman is far too focused on what's ahead to rewind what's behind.